Tonight, we'll drift into the soft glow of lazy childhood days, of summer afternoons that stretch slow like molasses, quiet lessons in kindness that sink into your heart like warm sunlight, and the courage to stand gentle in a world that can sometimes feel too loud. A story of love wrapped in patience, of justice held softly in hands that know how to care, and the quiet magic of seeing the good in others, slow, sweet, and easy on the mind. If you're here for calm, for the warmth of a gentle story that feels like a hug from a loved one at the end of a long day, for moments that lull your mind to rest and your heart to soften, you're exactly where you need to be. Let's breathe together. Inhale slow through your nose, deep and soft, like you're breathing in the scent of pine on a summer morning. Hold it just a moment, soft and easy. Exhale through your mouth, letting go of all the day's weariness, all the little stresses that stuck to you. Let your shoulders drop, your eyes soften, your mind quiet right down. No rush, no noise, just this moment. Jean-Louise Scout Finch was a bright-eyed little girl with a wild streak in her hair and a heart full of curious wonder. Growing up in the quiet town of Macomb, Alabama, with her older brother Jem and their father Atticus, the kind of man whose presence felt like a warm blanket on a cool night. Macomb was a small town where everyone knew everyone's name, where days rolled by slow and sweet, like honey dripping from a jar on a windowsill. Summer afternoons were filled with the hum of crickets in the grass, the scent of pine and magnolia floating on the breeze, and the cool shade of old oak trees that had stood there for years, their branches stretching high like protective arms. Scout and Jem spent their summers wandering the dusty streets, chasing fireflies with mason jars that glowed like tiny lanterns, and trading wild stories with their friend Dill, a small, imaginative boy with curly hair who visited Macomb every summer, his pockets always full of candy and his head full of adventures. Their favorite pastime? Wondering about Boo Radley, the quiet man who lived in the big, old house at the end of the street. Rarely seen, but often talked about in soft whispers over porch swings and glasses of sweet tea. They'd peek at his house from afar, giggling softly as they made up stories about him, and leave little gifts on his porch. Acorns polished smooth, a broken pocket watch with a worn chain, a handful of wild daisies picked from the field, hoping he'd notice, hoping he'd peek out his window, hoping he'd know they meant no harm, just curiosity wrapped in kindness. Atticus Finch was a kind, quiet man, with a voice as soft as molasses, and hands that smelled of ink and old books. Hands that turned pages gently, that patted shoulders softly, that never raised in anger. He was a lawyer, but more than that, he was a father who taught his children with patience, not shouts, with love, not harsh words. Every evening, he'd sit with Scout and Jem on their porch, the light of a soft lamp glowing beside them, reading to them from books with worn spines, his fingers brushing through Scout's hair as he spoke. He'd tell them little lessons about kindness, lessons that felt like warm soup on a cold day. You never really understand a person until you consider things from his point of view, until you climb into his skin and walk around in it. Scout didn't always understand right away. She was a girl who liked to run and laugh and ask 100 questions. But she felt the warmth of his words, like a blanket wrapping around her heart. Atticus never rushed them, never pushed them to grow up too fast. He just let them learn, slow and steady, like the seasons changing in Maycomb, like the leaves falling soft in autumn, like the flowers blooming gentle in spring. In summer, a trial came to Maycomb, a quiet, sad trial that made the town talk in hushed tones, over backyard fences and at the local diner. Atticus was asked to defend Tom Robinson, a kind black man who'd been accused of a terrible thing he didn't do. Scout and Jem didn't fully grasp the weight of it all. They were still kids, after all, whose biggest worries were catching fireflies and finishing their summer snacks. But they saw the way their father carried himself, calm, steady, gentle, even when people spoke harshly to him on the street, even when they glared at him from their porches. He told them one evening, as they sat on the porch watching the sunset, the one thing that doesn't abide by majority rule is a person's conscience. Scout watched him, her small legs swinging gently from the porch step, her mind trying to wrap around his words, like a blanket around a doll. And she knew, whatever happened, whatever people said, her father was doing the right thing. Sometimes, she'd sit in the back of the courtroom, holding Jem's hand, her feet barely touching the floor, listening to Atticus's soft voice as he spoke of truth and kindness, of of fairness and respect. Even in the quiet tension of the room, she felt safe. Safe in the knowledge that her father was there, that his love was there, like a lighthouse in a foggy night. That summer was filled with small adventures and quiet moments that felt like treasures. Scout and Jem finding a knothole in an old oak tree filled with little gifts left just for them. Gum that still tasted like peppermint. A small carved wooden doll that looked just like Scout. A pocket watch that ticked soft and slow when you held it to your ear. Atticus shooting a mad dog with a steady hand. One early morning, his face calm, his aim true, showing them that courage isn't about being loud or tough, but about doing what's right, even when your hands shake. Miss Maudie, their kind neighbor, with a green thumb and a heart full of warmth, baking them chocolate cake that smelled like heaven, letting them sit on her porch and eat it warm, crumbs falling on their clothes, as she told them soft stories about Boo Radley, stories about a boy who'd once been gentle, who'd loved to laugh before the world made him quiet, before he'd hidden away like a bird in its nest. Mockingbirds don't do one thing, but make music for us to enjoy, Miss Maudie told them one afternoon, wiping a crumb from Scout's cheek with a soft handkerchief. They don't eat up people's gardens, don't nest in corn cribs. They don't do one thing, but sing their hearts out for us. That's why it's a sin to kill a mockingbird. They're innocent, Scout. They only bring good. Scout nodded, holding the thought close to her heart like a precious stone she'd found in the dirt. As the trial ended, Scout and Jem learned a hard lesson, that the world isn't always kind, that even truth and goodness don't always win, that some people are cruel just because they don't understand. But they also learned something softer, something warmer, that kindness matters, even when it's not returned. That standing up for what's right, even when it's hard, even when you're alone, is its own kind of courage. Atticus held them close that night, Jem's head on his shoulder, Scout curled up in his lap, his voice gentle as he spoke. I wanted you to see what real courage is, instead of getting the idea that courage is a man with a gun in his hand. It's when you know you're licked before you begin, but you begin anyway, and you see it through, no matter what. Scout buried her face in his shirt, smelling the familiar scent of ink and old books, feeling the steady beat of his heart under her cheek. And she felt safe, safe in the knowledge that her father's love, his kindness, his quiet strength would always be there, like a warm fire on a cold night, like a lighthouse in the dark. He rocked them gently, whispering quiet words of comfort, telling them that even in the hard days, there is good. You just have to look for it, soft and slow. Late that winter, a terrible storm came to Maycomb. Wind howling softly outside, snow falling thick and white, covering the town in a blanket of quiet. That night, Jem was hurt, his arm sore and swollen, and in the quiet chaos of worried voices and soft lights, someone came to their rescue. Boo Radley. Scout saw him for the first time. A tall, quiet man with soft eyes and hands that looked like they had been kept hidden for years. And in that moment, she realized he'd been watching over them all along. He'd left the treasures in the knothole. He'd mended Jem's pants when they got stuck on the fence, stitching them neat and careful, like he'd cared. He'd stood in the shadows when they were scared, quiet and protective, like a guardian angel with a shy smile. As Boo stood in their living room, looking shy and uncertain, his hands folded gently in front of him, Scout took his hand, her small, warm hand, in his big, calloused one, and walked him home. The snow crunched soft under their boots. The night quiet, except for the wind whispering through the trees. She stood on his porch, looking out at Maycomb, through his eyes, quiet, slow, full of both kindness and hurt, full of people who judged before they knew, who feared what they didn't understand. Atticus, he was real nice, Scout said, as they walked back home, her breath forming little clouds in the cold air. Atticus smiled, squeezing her hand gently, his voice soft as snow. Most people are, Scout. When you finally see them, really see them, with kindness in your heart. That night, as Scout lay in bed, listening to the wind outside her window, soft and distant, she thought about all the things she'd learned that year, about kindness, about courage, about seeing people for who they really are, not who others say they are. She thought about Boo Radley, his soft eyes and gentle hands, about Tom Robinson, his kind smile and quiet strength, about her father, his steady love and unwavering goodness. She closed her eyes, and it was like she could still feel the warmth of summer afternoons on her skin, the taste of Miss Maudie's warm chocolate cake on her tongue, the sound of Atticus's voice reading to her by the lamp, the feel of Jem's hand in hers as they chased fireflies. It was a soft, sweet feeling, like being wrapped in a blanket of love and understanding, like being held close by someone who loves you, just the way you are. She thought about the mockingbirds, singing their hearts out, innocent and good. And she thought about the people in Maycomb who were like mockingbirds, quiet, kind, only bringing good to the world. And she knew, deep in her heart, that she wanted to be like that too. Kind, gentle, brave in the quiet way her father was brave. There's a little truth at the heart of Scout's story, one that wraps around you like a warm blanket on a cold night. It's the kind of truth you feel more than you think. The world can feel loud sometimes, but kindness is soft. Love is just being there. Slow, steady, quiet. Scout and Jem learned that too. Hurting something innocent, something that only sings for us, is sad. And being gentle, even when the world is loud, is brave. Atticus showed them. Courage isn't about being tough or shouting, just doing what feels right, soft and steady, even when it's hard. Love isn't about big gestures. It's sitting on a porch together, holding a hand when scared, It's not about being perfect. It's just trying to be kind, trying to see the good. May you carry that soft feeling tonight. Your kindness is your strength, and the small, quiet good you give matters. Like a mockingbird song on a summer evening, like someone holding you close when you're tired. Let that feeling wrap around you now as you settle into rest. Let go of the day's worries, the things left undone, the little regrets. None of it matters right now. What matters is this moment. You are safe, wrapped in warmth, wrapped in love. Breathe slowly. Inhale peace, like the scent of pine and magnolia on a soft afternoon. Exhale tension, letting go of all the tightness in your shoulders, all the noise in your mind. Feel the warmth of the night, the safety of your bed, the quiet around you. Feel the sheets soft against your skin, the rhythm of your breath, slow and calm. You don't have to be brave or strong or perfect. You just have to be you. And that's more than enough. You are loved. You are cared for. You are not alone. May your dreams be soft and warm. Dreams of summer afternoons, fireflies, and gentle hands. May your rest be deep, your mind quiet, your heart full. Sleep well, dear one. Let the night lull you to sleep, soft and slow. Let your heart be light, your mind drift, your soul at peace. Know this with every fiber of your being. You are safe. You are loved. You are enough. Good night, sweet one. I'll be right here with you in the quiet. Sleep tight. Sweet dreams.